In just 48 hours, the company's capitalization increased from a modest $115 million to almost $1.5 billion. And in this way, as early as 2021, the Fed's balance could exceed 10, if not $20 trillion. Ponzi scheme, when you buy today hoping that tomorrow others would buy more expensive. Glad to welcome you to the Coin Post. I'm gonna tell you some of the latest news in the world of finance. Let's start with the hype around Kodak, the reason their stocks went up 300%. I also have some behind-the-scene info you wouldn't find on financial channels. And then we're gonna talk about how the Fed is giving money to anyone who wants to buy Lamborghini. And if you think that's an intro to the last Federal Reserve meeting, we're gonna mention it too. And as for the highlight of our review, we'll take the economist Nobel Laureate Paul Krugman. He'll tell what kind of obsession could hit the stock market harder than the coronavirus. So get as comfortable as possible, bear with me, and check if you're subscribed to the channel. Let's dive in. We're starting with the hype of the week, namely the increase of the Kodak stock in just 2 days by more than 300%, while their securities went up from $2.5 to $33. As a result, in just 48 hours, the company's capitalization increased from a modest $115 million to almost $1.5 billion. You could say that Kodak thus almost restored its former glory and greatness. Hype in the marketplace came after the news that Kodak got a $765 million loan from the US authorities to produce medical substances for coronavirus drugs. And if you also thought that Kodak is about photography, then it's not anymore. They were never able to switch after the film got out of mass use, and the company declared bankruptcy in 2012. Due to American laws, the company was able to keep operating, and in the fall of 2013, its shares were listed again on the New York Stock Exchange. But the previous collapse did not teach them anything, and Kodak would get into new debts and their stocks would steadily go down. At the end of 2018, the rate dropped to $3, and it was time to draw the line. But the company decided to hype again and announced an ICO. The stock price immediately went from $3 to almost $12 and then crashed again, because the idea of creating a Kodak coin cryptocurrency to protect the copyright of a photograph wasn't reasonable. Besides, the ICO bubble was already on the way, and then the scammers decided to take advantage of that, and as a result, no one heard about the project. And now, Kodak makes ingredients for medical drugs. I found some information online that they sort of mastered making protective masks during quarantine, but I don't think the masks have anything to do with pharmaceuticals. Kodak doesn't have the equipment or the experts for this task. There's only a $765 million loan, and those who buy their shares for some reason think it's enough to succeed. Well, as long as it's their money, they can spend it however they want. In addition, some of these buyers were severely punished, as the stock price soared to $60. From there, it was almost halved to $33. Support this video with a thumbs up if you want more of videos like this. Next, I'm gonna tell you where to get the money to buy Lamborghini. There's a meme in the crypto world like, when are you gonna afford a Lambo? And in traditional financial markets, it's much easier. Now in the United States, with the Fed, businesses can get non-refundable loans, giving you $1 million, and all you have to do is spend it right. This is what a Florida resident did. During the quarantine, he wasn't sitting around, but he was actively bypassing all the authorized agencies and got loans to support his business, and above all to pay salaries to employees for almost $4 million. And then I thought to myself that getting income support was, in a way, excellent business, and could get you a Lamborghini for more than $300,000. But what he didn't take into account was that Big Brother is watching each and every one of us. And with the help of the American Treasury, the police seized his car, the rest of his money for over $3 million, and put the guy behind the bars. Now he could go to jail for a few months. As for the Fed meeting itself, this is the kind of money they will continue to hand out. Previously, small and medium-sized business credit programs had been extended to non-profit organizations, and the standards for participation had been lowered. It was then announced that business support would continue through the end of summer and autumn, and many expected a wave of bankruptcies in America at the phasing out of free credits. Now, Federal Reserve has held another meeting and decided that the program of unlimited quantitative easing will continue. They will keep buying treasury and mortgage bonds and offering large-scale overnight and term repurchase agreement operations. And in this way, as early as 2021, the Fed's balance could exceed 10, if not $20 trillion. Well, at least they didn't introduce the negative rates, just keeping the zero ones. As a result, we can expect the rally to continue in the stock market because people are now looking not at what they are buying, but at what the Fed is doing. This is the kind of paranoia that economist Paul Krugman is gonna tell us about. And in the meantime, while seeing this screensaver, think about what friends you can share this video with if you found it interesting. Thank you all for supporting the channel. The Nobel Laureate in Economics Paul Krugman believes that the US shit itself when it started to lift the quarantine measures prematurely, and did so without taking sufficient precautions. As for the stock market, after the March collapse, the Fed could not help reacting otherwise, as the economy would have been affected even more. So they cut the rates to zero and started giving away the money. But they did not expect or predict that the market would grow so fast. The initial task was only to stop the decline. Now stocks are getting more expensive, and there are two explanations here. A rational one is catastrophically low returns on treasury bills and IT giants' rates, as they make most of their money outside the US and there is no big problem with coronavirus there. The irrational one is that investors are obsessed due to the fear of missing out. It's a real bubble actually, or even a Ponzi scheme, when you buy today hoping that tomorrow others would buy more expensive. The stock became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everyone is confident that prices will only go up, but sooner or later, the buyers will run out, no one will want to pay that much, and then the bubble will burst. Paul Krugman believes that the Fed did not want anything like this when it turned on the money printing machine. But now they can't stop, because investors are looking at their actions. And if they say that tomorrow the situation with liquidity changes, the markets will collapse the next day. And the crisis is still not over, so we can't let the stock price go free. The main threat, according to The Economist, is zero rates. They were at record low levels before the corona crisis, and he was already saying that if some unpredictable event happened, the Fed would have very little room to maneuver. And it happened, the rates are zero, and they're trying to get the best of what they have. But now the last resources are used up, and we could get a second act. Another blow could hit the economy and markets real hard. It's gonna be a hell of a lot scarier than the corona, because there's nothing the Fed could do about it anymore. When to expect this second strike and what it could lead to, I suggest we discuss in the comments. And I remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep you posted. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. It's the Coin Post channel. Subscribe and get enlightened.